We learn early how to hide our feelings, not because we want to, but because it's easier. Easier than explaining, easier than being misunderstood, easier than risking someone seeing too much. So we smile when we're tired. We say I'm fine when we're anything but. We laugh at things that don't feel funny anymore. We get good at it. Too good. We hide our emotions behind routines, jokes, silence, and distractions. We tell ourselves that keeping things inside makes us strong, that not needing anyone is a kind of power, and maybe for a while it works. But feelings don't disappear just because we ignore them. They wait. We forget about our eyes. We control our words. We manage our tone. We rehearse what we'll say and what we won't. But our eyes don't follow the rules. They pause too long. They avoid mirrors. They soften when they shouldn't. They grow tired even when we insist we're okay. Our eyes remember everything we try to forget. They remember the nights we stayed awake thinking about the same thing over and over. They remember the people we miss but won't reach out to. They remember the weight we carry quietly, the kind no one asks about. And no matter how well we hide the rest, our eyes keep telling the truth. There is a language that doesn't need sound, a language made of glances, hesitation, and silence. It's in the way someone looks away when a certain topic comes up, in the way their eyes change when they hear a familiar name, in the way they stare at nothing when their mind is somewhere else. You can hear it if you're paying attention. Sometimes the loudest thing a person says is nothing at all. Just a look that lingers, a blink that comes too late, a gaze that seems distant, like they're trying not to feel something they're already feeling. Our eyes don't explain, they confess. Holding everything inside doesn't make the feelings smaller. It makes them heavier. They settle behind the eyes where exhaustion lives. That's why tiredness isn't always about sleep. That's why rest doesn't always help. We carry so much quietly that our eyes start to ache from pretending, from seeing the world while hiding from it at the same time. There's a particular sadness in knowing how to be okay for everyone else, but not knowing how to be honest with yourself. And sometimes the only place that sadness shows is in the eyes. It's rare, but sometimes someone notices. They don't say anything dramatic. They don't ask 1,000 questions. They just pause and look at you a little longer. They see something in your eyes that doesn't match your words. Something fragile, something tired, something real. And for a moment, you feel exposed, but also relieved. Because being seen even silently feels lighter than hiding perfectly. The truth is, we're not afraid of being emotional. We're afraid of being vulnerable and having it mean nothing. We're afraid of opening up and realizing no one knows what to do with our honesty. Afraid of being met with silence or worse, indifference. So we choose control instead. We choose composure. We choose to let our eyes speak quietly while our mouths stay guarded. Safer that way. Lonelier, but safer. At night, when there's no one watching, our eyes finally rest. They stop performing. They stop pretending. They stare at the ceiling, at the dark, at memories we don't invite but always recognize. They carry thoughts we never finish and feelings we don't name. At night, our eyes tell the full story. The story we don't post. The story we don't explain. The story we barely admit to ourselves. Maybe the problem isn't that we feel too much. Maybe it's that we don't listen enough. Not to advice, not to noise, but to ourselves. To the quiet signals we ignore. To the tiredness behind our eyes. To the emotions we keep postponing. Our eyes have been speaking all along. We just haven't learned how to listen. You don't need to explain everything you feel. You don't need to justify your emotions. But you also don't have to disappear inside yourself. It's okay if your eyes tell the truth sometimes. It's okay if someone notices. It's okay if you don't have the words yet. Feelings don't need permission to exist. We try to hide our feelings, but we forget that our eyes speak. They speak in silence, in stillness, in moments we think no one sees. And maybe that's okay. Because even if no one else understands, at least some part of us is still honest, still alive, still feeling. And sometimes that's enough to remind us that we're human. Sometimes someone notices the things you try to hide, Not because you told them, but because they saw it in your eyes. The pause in your expression, the tiredness you didn't explain. And for a moment you feel exposed, like you've been seen without permission. But beneath that discomfort is something softer. Relief. Being understood sounds comforting until it actually happens. Understanding means someone sees past the mask. It means they notice the parts of you that feel fragile, and that can be terrifying. Because once someone understands you, pretending becomes harder. There are thoughts you never say out loud because they feel too heavy to explain. Not because they're dramatic, but because they're honest. You don't want to burden anyone with the weight you've learned to carry alone. Not all breakdowns are loud. Some happen in silence, behind calm expressions and controlled voices. A slow unraveling that no one notices. A moment where everything feels heavy, but you keep going anyway. Night is supposed to bring rest, but sometimes it brings clarity instead. Thoughts line up. Feelings surface. You don't feel worse, just more aware. And awareness can be exhausting. Certain memories don't fade with time. They just become quieter. They wait patiently, resurfacing when you're alone, not to hurt you, but to remind you of who you were and what you felt. Being independent often means being alone with your feelings. You handle things on your own, not because you want to, but because you don't know how to ask for help anymore. Strength becomes isolation without you realizing it. You feel deeply but speak carefully. You measure your words. You soften your emotions. You keep the heavier parts inside, where they feel safer, even if they weigh you down. Distractions work until they don't. When the noise fades, the feelings remain. Late at night, without anything to hide behind, you're left facing yourself. You don't compare yourself loudly. You do it quietly. You wonder how others seem so certain, how their lives look more put together. And you question your own pace without ever saying it out loud. You don't compare yourself loudly. You do it quietly. You wonder how others seem so certain, how their lives look more put together. And you question your own pace without ever saying it out loud. You grieve versions of yourself that no longer exist. Not because they were better, but because they felt familiar. Letting go of them feels like losing something you can't explain. You hesitate to open up because you don't want to be a burden. You convince yourself that others have enough on their plate, so you stay quiet even when you need someone. Sometimes hiding your feelings isn't weakness, it's survival. It's the only way you knew how to get through certain moments. And that deserves understanding, not judgment. Strength isn't always empowering. Sometimes it feels heavy. Sometimes it feels like responsibility you didn't ask for. And sometimes you wish you could be less strong just for a while.